Hello everyone, this is Alex, and I came out of my cave to record, the pretty much the first video, and I guess that's not gonna be just the single video, it's gonna be a series of videos that I'm gonna share with you in upcoming days, because I am going for a challenge. I am gonna do, I call it impossible or I'm possible challenge, and my task here would be to test the limits of reality in some sense. What does it mean? And of course, as you can guess, this is about artificial intelligence. What else is there to talk about, right? Anyway, so the point, I just came up with this. My brain has been, my mind has been blown up for quite some time already, and I'm just still trying to put it all together. And last week I had this thought, like, what is it possible in this new reality? Where are the limits and where are the opportunities? Because in some sense, in the past life, before AI, everything was so simple. Like, if you haven't learned languages, you were certainly not able to communicate them. You couldn't speak anything else except your mother tongue, if you learned at least that. Now, this is not the case anymore. Like, everybody can communicate, not in different languages, but having simultaneous interpretation, not just translation, interpretation. I can go very deep into that topic, but essentially, for example, for those people who are not native English speakers, English may not be that necessary anymore, because you can basically consume information in your native language, and you can express yourself in your native language, and that will be translated to all the other languages that are needed. And this is quite mind-blowing in this sense, because, for example, English is not my first language, and even though I speak it for some time now, and for example with my wife, our main language is English. However, every time I speak English, I'm kind of put into some box, and it is much harder to express myself. Especially my work, you see, I'm a tour guide and I'm a travel designer. So, and I don't do just, like superficial, so to say, tours. It's usually some deep dives into, nature and history and ancient civilizations, and things that I cannot really express that easily. And certainly people who haven't studied things like that, and they may not have vocabulary for such things. For them, it may be easier to consume this information in other languages than English. So the same happens with coding, because coding is also a language. And now, you see, I have background in tourism, but because I was born in the middle of nowhere in Siberia, basically, for me it was so important to learn how to create websites. Since basically day one I started working in tourism. That's why for a couple of decades I've been designing websites, as well as working, in the mountains. So that's why I kind of got into IT and all this type of interesting digital transformation experiences. However, I'm still not a coder, and you cannot code. If you cannot code, you cannot create software. That's not the case anymore neither. And here maybe the boundaries are a little bit more strict compared to languages, but still they are moved much further, and I still don't know where are the boundaries, because I can create much more comprehensive, not just websites, but applications now. And that, you know, these things that are not just static information, but more of a dynamic interfaces, and we may find some interesting ways how to, you know, evolve businesses now. Because, well, for example, before you needed, for example, CRM, and CRMs, those that are kind of good enough, let's say, they are usually quite expensive. So if you would have a comprehensive, you know, software stack for business, that will cost you every month a kind of significant amount of money. And now you can create your own CRM that is designed for your processes, because this is totally custom made thing, which would cost you kind of nearly nothing compared to what it used to be. So the boundaries are have completely shifted in this sense. At the same time, it's still not very clear what is possible and what is not possible. So, I mean, you know, this, you know, things about image generation, for example, in the past at least, where you give the description of the image that you want to get, and it gives you something totally random and crazy. Image generators now much better than they used to be. However, where are all the other boundaries? Where are the boundaries about software, for example? What is the boundaries about, for example, our jobs, like being guides, being tourism entrepreneurs, overall being like entrepreneurs, not software people, but, you know, living people who go to work and who create businesses and serve customers. What are the possibilities, or what are the impossibilities nowadays? This is what I'm gonna explore in next 10 days, because I am joining the world's largest hackathon. It's been happening throughout June, and it's basically on the final line, so there is 10 days left. It's still a lot. So for this next 10 days, I am gonna experiment with what is possible and show you different tools and different results of what I've been doing. And so let's hope it's gonna be interesting and it's gonna educate us a little bit, because AI, of course, just Gen AI is much bigger than ChatGPT. It actually created a huge wave of new tools, and not just tools, but the entire new logic of creating online services. That's why this is really kind of Red Queen's race, because it's not just you who have to learn it. It is also the industry that constantly moves forwards, kind of inventing itself. That's why you have to catch up with the pace of not just education, but also with the development of this industry. So it is very interesting, and I'm hopeful that it's going to bring us some interesting change in the world, because there are quite a few changes that we need. So let's keep in touch. I'm gonna upload my videos on YouTube. I'm gonna show you how I work with different tools and what comes out of it. And I will be super happy to hear your feedback and your ideas, and maybe you will also do something together with me. So I don't know, subscribe to my whatever YouTube, LinkedIn, or anywhere you're gonna see these videos, and let's stay in touch and let's explore the possibilities of this new interesting reality. Ciao.